Hello guys, we are on the fourth game in the concept of blockades and prophylaxis, and this game was played between Bondarevsky and Smyslow in Moscow 1946. The game is a Ruy Lopez game, and I'll show you from the black side. And this game was won by black, so the black player was Smyslow, and the game goes e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, knight f6, and castle shot, and bishop to e7. Now bishop takes c6. Nothing special happened to justify this loss of tempo. Now d takes c6, rook e1, knight d7, d4, ed4, queen takes d4, castle shot, bishop f4. White has better development, more space and a better majority. Black's position is compact and he has the bishop pair. Now knight to c5, and generally it is good to exchange passive pieces for active ones. Also the knight heads to the excellent e6 square. The point will soon be clear. Now queen takes d8, bishop takes d8, knight c3, f5. An excellent decision. Smyslow wants to open the position for his bishop pair and sets a positional trap. Many players would automatically advance the e pawn, e5, including the player who is playing him. It looks natural, but it is a terrible positional mistake. The e5 pawn will be blocked with a precise play by black. The blockading knight on e6 will be eternal. The e5 pawn will actually restrict three white pieces: the bishop, knight and rook. Always try to advance or exchange pawns that are protected by three or more of your pieces. Here instead bishop to g5, bishop takes, and after knight takes, and now h6, knight to f3, and after f takes e4, now knight takes e4, and knight takes e4, rook takes e4, and bishop to f5, rook to e2, and bishop to g4, rook to e3 leads to a draw. If instead of rook e2, rook e7, then bishop takes c2 and rook takes c7, rook to f7 is equal. But white goes e5 here, then knight to e6, the fine blockade. Now bishop to d2, now g5. This is logical and strong. First of all, black gains space on the king side, a good strategy for the side with the bishop pair. Secondly, this move restricts the white minor pieces, and perhaps most importantly, this move maintains the blockader on its perfect position on e6. White may play knight e2 with the idea to exchange the blockader after knight f4 or knight e to d4. Thus black's last move is both aggressive and prophylactic. Now knight e2 and c5. The knight is now safe on the e6. Bishop to c3, b5. b5 here. Gaining space on both flanks and preparing a fianchetto for the light squared bishop. Now b3, bishop b7. You do not need to be an expert to see that black is much better. His powerful pawn avalanche on both flanks will destroy everything in their path. Now knight to g3. White intends to penetrate behind the opponent's pawns, perhaps hoping for an endgame with opposite colored bishops. In fact, this knight will be out of play on f6. Now g4, knight d2, bishop e7. Improving the position step by step, it is time to activate the rooks. Now knight to h5, king f7, knight f1, king g6. Now knight f6, rook a d8, rook a d1. White's knight on f6 is useless. If he wants, black can reach an opposite colored bishop endgame with an extra pawn. After the move e takes f6, this pawn will fall. Thus, black decided to simplify the position by exchanging all the rooks. His minor pieces dominate the board and are collaborating with pawns on both the flanks. Now rook takes d1, rook takes d1, rook d8, rook takes d8, bishop takes d8, knight to e3, now f4. Taking the g4 pawn is forbidden. Black's king even gets to f5 now. Now knight to d1, bishop to f6. Bishop takes f6. This is by far the simplest way to realize the huge positional advantage. The point is that black will collect white's queenside pawns while keeping the white minor pieces paralyzed. Now e takes f6, bishop e4, bishop to b2, b4. Preventing the activation of the d1 knight, white cannot escape. His queenside pawns are helpless. Now f3, bishop takes c2, knight to f2, g takes f3, g takes f3, bishop b1, knight e4, bishop takes a2. Even after being activated, the white knight is without purpose. Now knight to d2, a5, king f2, knight to d4. Here c4, knight takes c4, bishop takes b3, knight takes a5, and bishop to d5 would be a funny line. The tables have turned. Now black bishop completely paralyzes the white knight. But black played knight d4. Now after bishop takes d4, c takes d4. Now king e2, king takes f6, and king d3, king e5, king c2, a4, b takes a4, c5, a5, c4, a6, and d3 check. And black is faster here, so white resigned. White made only one important mistake on the 13th move. Even with better play afterwards, he would probably not have been able to save the game. Excellent realization by Smith-Slow. The 13th move, the mistake was by white was the e5 push. It was easily blockaded by the knight on e6. And after this, the game would proceed. King to d1, then c3, a7, and bishop to d5. The pawn is stopped in time, so here black is easily winning. So I hope you would have enjoyed the game, guys. Thank you all.